Darmstadt has been a military a base for Americans since the Second World War, and there are much more installations than the ones we see here. The buildings behind you is the European headquarters of the Stars and Stripes newspaper, which is no longer actually done here, but in Washington, and then sent over here and sort of reprocessed and then brought to a German printer who actually prints it, and then it's distributed. It's also some housing area. And this big field you see over there is the Euler airfield. That is the oldest airfield in Germany. It was first an experimental airfield for one of the air flight pioneers. During the Nazi time it was used by the German military. After the Second World War it was used by the US military. Then it wasn't used for a while at all. Now the area, the whole airfield, with the exception of this building here, and it's a fairly small strip of land over these golf balls. So they would actually have to buy land from the Darmstadt University to set up more golf balls here. Or they would have to cut into the forest, which would be difficult because there's a kindergarten just 150 meters off, so there's not much room left. It's German residential area just behind the trees. The airfield is now used for very small, sort of self-built experimental airplanes from university students, and is under environmental protection because it's a very rare biotope. Because it's not publicly accessible. It's a very special mix of grass and flowers and so on. You see the golf balls over there, and I actually suddenly noticed that I was mistaken. It's not 3+1, it's 4+1, because the last one is behind the last one, which are in line like this, and then slightly off there is the fifth, the sender station, which has a slightly different outline and is light, not the dark green. So you have to walk over there to actually see it. And from these golf balls, 4 of them are receiving information from the satellite. That information goes through special cables that were also laid in the ground when this thing was built, down to where you see that red-white pole with the little ball on top. That's an antenna from the INSCOM. That is where the INSCOM is, in the middle of fields and forests, and actually you can check all that out on Google Earth still. It's still very clear to see. The INSCOM doesn't look spectacular in any way. It looks smallish. It's all low buildings, no high buildings. When the people from Bad Aibling were transferred here, there was a lot of building work done, which you don't really see apart from a huge parking lot. And you wonder, how can so many people work there in these little buildings? But people who live here told us that for weeks and weeks and weeks, trucks came from there, full of earth, full of soil. So they dug deep, deep, deep into the earth, and it said that it's 5 floors below the earth, where the INSCOM actually do their work of processing the information they collect from the satellites, and then what's worth keeping and what they consider useful is then sent off by the 5th antenna and processed in the United States. That's what's happening here. Thanks.
Thanks, Regina.